Hey there. How y'all doing this evening? To be honest, I planned to come up here and do this before the sun went down, but I had some technical difficulties finding my equipment. The equipment gremlins around here have been vicious today. They had me going all over the place looking for everything, but they're gremlins. What do you expect? Right? Man, at least I ain't the only one having difficulties. Looks like Kamala got exposed for having some kind of fake granny. Did you hear about that? Now, who's got a fake granny? Only somebody running for president could do that. Only somebody running for president could have a fake granny. Wow. Wow. You know, my grandmother's name, everybody thought for the longest was Pat, but it wasn't. It was Pet because she was the whitest grandkid. So the grandparents didn't have no trouble taking her out in town with them because she didn't look like she was half Indian. I never heard of nobody hiding their white granny. That's a new one on me. The world's really changed, hasn't it? I mean, wow. You know, I don't understand some of these things, but I guess we ain't supposed to understand it because it's just madness. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. We need to make them mental hospitals great again. And the first ones that need to go are some of these politicians. It's just, I don't know what to tell you about that. Anyway, the main reason I'm coming to you tonight and not waiting until next Saturday to do a good live stream, one that I'm prepared for and ain't all flustered, is because I did an interview yesterday evening with a man that likes to document UFO crash retrievals. And the name of this channel is Mysterious Encounters. What I had in mind for this channel, some kind of jump street here, has been kind of put on hold because we're going through an election and it's kind of all hands on deck. And if we don't tear down some of these narratives, we're going to be in trouble. And I've kind of abandoned it a little bit. I didn't really mean to, but it's kind of what happened. The first thing that I did on YouTube was I co-hosted a show with a fella talking about cryptids and just all kind of stuff. And I'm going to continue to talk about supernatural things, not so much cryptids, but angelic encounters, miracles, encounters with the Lord, miracles that's happened, and all that crazy things that you're probably hearing about now is my dogs. They're running around panting, acting crazy. I've got a herd of Boston Terriers, and they just do Boston Terrier things, and ain't much I can do about it other than lock them in the house, and I don't like to do that. So I guess we're going to have to get everybody trained to the fact that I got dogs at some point or another, especially on lives. But yeah, UFO stuff ain't really my bag too much, despite the fact that I see them all the time. I live on the Gulf Coast and right in between like 5 military bases, like dead in the center of it. I got Pensacola NAS, Eglin Air Force Base, Whiting Field. I mean, just a bunch of them. Just a bunch of them. Barron Field. We see all kind of crazy stuff out here, man. I've seen so many UFOs. If I could actually get a picture of each one of them, we could have a museum. Some of them, well, I'll just put it like this. That for a while there, they started camouflaging themselves, and they would try to make themselves look like an ambulance with the flashing red lights and everything flying through the sky. And we just go like 50 or 100 foot above the road while they did it. It was madness. We even saw one look like that car off of Harry Potter, going put, 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 with the headlights turning and going through the clouds. I mean, I've seen all kinds of stuff like that out here. And eventually I may even wind up getting some of it on camera. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying it could happen. But yeah, I interviewed this man, and he documents crash retrievals and just digs through people's stories, and he's trying to preserve evidence, he calls it. Because, let's face it, them people's aging out from all that stuff that happened in the 40s and 50s, like Roswell and all that. And the people that have descriptions of these things where they saw them retrieving these crashed UFOs. And we had a discussion, and I'm not going to go too deep into it because it was after the interview, and I kind of consider that off the record. But we did touch on some of this during the interview, so I feel comfortable saying this. You know, they're never going to admit it. They can't. I went to college for criminal justice, and I learned something there. You know, if a crime is committed, especially a murder, and you learn about the details of that murder and you don't go report it, guess what? You're an accessory after the fact. And even in some cases, they charge you with the same crime. The accessory after the fact carries the same penalty as the crime itself, but let's say, I think it's in Florida, there ain't no accessory in Florida. If you there and a murder's committed and you don't go turn that person in, well, then you are charged with murder as well. So that's what they're up against. There's been too many bodies dropped on this. Too much nefarious stuff going on. They can never come out and admit what they've done. So that's not going to happen. It's all loss and no gain, as I think the words that I used. And yeah, it's all loss and no gain. But I think you'll get something out of this. I mean, it's not an exciting, like a cryptid story where somebody had an alien abduction or saw it themselves, but they tell you about people that did. And he goes through and documents it and makes these color representations, illustrations, if you will, of what it would have looked like from the words of the witnesses. And he just seemed like a really good guy. And I'd like for y'all to give it a shot. I'm going to put it up after this is over. And everybody will get a chance to watch it and enjoy it. If it's your thing, great. If it's not, hey, I understand. But if you do enjoy it, how about you give it a like? Maybe subscribe to the channel. I've got a few more interviews I haven't put up because, just to be blunt, my internet was terrible. And I got the other side of the interview taped real good, but mine sounds terrible. And I'm going to have to go through and reshoot my audio. And it's going to be a big pain in the rear. I'm hoping that I can find an AI program that I can drop them in that'll clean it up. But as bad as it is, I'm skeptical. Let's put it that way. And I've got another one where a man died and went to hell. And he gives me half the story, but I don't have the other half. The first half taped okay, but when we come back to do it the second time, it doubled all the audio and it's unlistenable. But I'm going to get more. With the help of the Lord, we're going to get more. And I would like, if you have a story where you witnessed a miracle or an angel help get you or a loved one or even a total stranger out of a jam and you witnessed it, email me those stories. I've got an email, and I'm going to put it in the description, and I may even pin it in the comments of the interview that was up and this later. And we're going to get it to where some of these stories are coming in. And if you really do a good job on telling me your encounter, we may even set up a thing where maybe some people record their encounter and stream it to me, and I introduce it. If you're comfortable with that. If you want me to tell it, I'll tell it. But it's a thought. I ain't really made up my mind how we're going to do all of it yet. I'm just getting started here. And there's going to be some trial and error. And but I think it's going to be a lot of fun for all of us. And I would like for everybody to have a way to participate. You can participate in the comments. I generally, as small as the channel is right now, I try to get back to everybody. It may take me a couple of days, but I try to get back to every comment, at least give it a thumbs up, something. I don't always answer, but a lot of them I do. And hey, maybe I'll like yours. Maybe I'll answer you. Don't know, you try. But yeah, all comments are appreciated. And I don't automatically just flip out on somebody if you don't agree with me. There's people that's email me stuff that, didn't agree with what I put up. I answer them. I tell them what I consider to be the facts. And I try to keep it as clean as I can, which is the way I prefer to do it. But, on YouTube, we have to be very careful how we say things sometimes. You can say something that shouldn't be offensive to anybody. Let me just put it that way. Shouldn't be offensive to anybody, but people get offended anyway. And I'm going to be honest with you. Some of these people need to be offended. I think that's what's wrong with them. They never had nobody offend them. They never had nobody tell them the truth and say, hey, look, I don't care what you feel about it. This is what the facts are. And I don't have no problem being the bad guy. I got big shoulders. I can do that. But there's certain things that you're not allowed to say on YouTube, and it makes it kind of hard sometimes to give somebody a no poop type of answer. You know what I'm saying? But I'll do the best I can. I would like for as many people as can possibly tolerate it to be a part of this family. It's small right now, and hopefully it's going to grow. And I want y'all to get in on the ground floor, as it were. Because I've already got people that I recognize your name, and I'm starting to get a little used to you. Got a couple guys from the Bible study group come in, and it's going to grow. It's going to grow, but it's going to take all of us to do it. And just stick with me. I know my sound quality is not always the best. I get it. I'm limited by the interface that I have. It's not a TMU version of it, but it could be. It's like saying a dollar store version of a soundboard. And that's what I'm working with. And I'm kind of limited by that. I'm tweaking it. Sometimes I can get it dialed in and it works real good. And then I don't touch any buttons or do anything. But the next time I try to shoot, it's bad again. And I got to dial it in again. Let's just say it's temperamental. I'm saving up for another interface, a better interface. One of the other things that I hope to do with this channel is I used to be a pretty good guitarist back in the 80s, or at least everybody said I was. I mean, sounded good to me, but it usually does. But I put it down for right close to 30 years. And I'm picking it back up, and it's basically like learning again. I remember some of the stuff, a lot of stuff I don't, especially the music theory stuff. 30 years, you forget a lot of things. But I'm learning again, and if I get the right interface, hopefully I'll be able to do some music. One of the things I hope to do is take the Psalms and put them to music. I think that would make some great worship music because that's what they were. David wrote those as songs, and so did Solomon. And, they got a little help from some other people on a few of them. But they were songs that he sang to God. When he was getting ready to go into battle, when he was, being chased and felt like the whole world was against him. They're good for warfare. They're good for warfare. And, spiritual warfare is a thing. And, yeah, I would definitely be interested in hearing some of the stories from people. And I will give attributes. I'm not going to steal nobody's story because I don't want to go to hell. I mean, you don't steal somebody's story like that unless you're an idiot. But keep it in mind. And if you want to give it anonymously, we don't have to put your name to it. Well, we can if you want to. It's up to you. Just everybody, please, if you will, bear with me on the sound issue because it's going to get better. I'm learning. This is a learning experience. I didn't know how to do this, but I see improvement already, and hopefully, before you know it, we'll be right up there with the big dogs. And I want to tell everybody, I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate all the subscriptions, the likes, the comments. And I think I've got a really good audience base growing here. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And I want to tell you, God bless you. And good night.